Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with your favorite wrestling podcast on God's green earth. And that is not because of me. It's not about me. It's about Damascus Dez and Vinny Bucci, the wrestling encyclopedia from Parta... Well, there are reasons why I have to follow these orders, and the main reason is sitting on Booch's left shoulder. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your prediction champion, the greatest of all time, the man that every lady dreams of having his pizza baby? Celebrating with all of you here in One's World, the last real analyst, and I said it right, the breaker of curses, the pride of Italy, in God mode we trust, Vincent Kennedy Bucci.
Yes. The perfect score on a perfect night for the perfect champion, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a victory, not only for the greatest of all time, but also a victory for my people. That's right. I went into Clash in Italy, and on behalf of all legendary Italianos, I was able to reclaim what is mine and making everyone proud, from Rocky Marciano to Super Mario to, of course, the one man who is one of the heads on the one and only true Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling, Bruno Sammartino.
That's a pretty refined list you have there, Booch. And I would say the final scores should be tallied here. Might be good reason why Desmond didn't show up today. Can you go through the final scores, please?
Yes. As I mentioned before, perfect score. I have 5 points, got every match correct. Wenz came in second with only 4. He got 4, right? And Desmond came in dead last with 2. He got 2. It was apparently that mirror that Wenz held up did the trick, because yeah, he got only 2 right. And if you go back and watch the tape, there's been a couple of times where he's like, you guys are crazy. You guys are idiots. There's no way this is happening. And it did. So he may or may not be hiding his head in shame. I do not know. But if I know Desmond, I think I do. He's probably, he's not the type of person that usually hide his head in shame. So I'm shocked if that's the case. I don't know if he has an emergency going on, but for now, we're going with hiding his head in shame until he tells us what the answer might be.
Oh, no mercy here in Wen's world. No, Wen's the merciful has left the building. If you don't show up after taking an L like that, you get 0 respect until you show up next time, and then respect is restored. But we got to go through the matches. We had 5 matches. We listed them out in the order that they were listed on Wikipedia. Booch, champion's choice. Shall we go through the way that we chose them or the way that they went down? Your choice.
Let's go the way they went down. That's what the fans are going to be looking to follow us on.
Indeed. Match 1, Cody Rhodes defeating Gunther via pinfall. An 11-minute match, to be completely candid. I am not going to give my money to the underlords. Therefore, I do not have ESPN. Therefore, I did not see these matches. Boots, you're going to have to give me all the quick and long and dirty. So do it to me, baby.
Well, I went back and watched it on the Watch Wrestling site. I could not watch it live because Watch Wrestling is one of those sites where it's hard to watch it live because there's so much buffering and all that, and it freezes up a lot. You got to wait till it's completely done and archived, and then you can go back and see it.
Wait. What is this site?
It's a special treat that a lot of us know. I call it the special treat on the page. I thought you knew about this.
No, I've been telling you guys I haven't had ESPN this whole time.
I've been talking about this thing for years, bro.
Not on this show.
Okay, I thought I brought it up. My bad.
That's okay. You're bringing it up now. Orders restored.
Exactly.
WatchWrestling.com. Is that what you said?
No, it's a difference. It's like what is it? AE. It's a cryptic thing because they're trying to really hide it from the copyright people.
Oh, well, we won't share the link with anybody. But if you do want the link, Vinny will share it with me. And then if you email the show, wensworldradio@gmail.com, I will discreetly give you the URL to use.
Yeah, this is a discreet thing we got to do. But I went back and saw it there, and I'll say this. This match was done beautifully. And I will say this, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. This match is 11 minutes and 35 seconds. You don't need an opening match longer than that. Desmond would argue differently, but I would say that's the standard. Get in, get out. They did with 11 minutes and 35 seconds, they did everything they needed to do. Told the story, had the excitement. So many times, like Cody was going to get choked out, but he would always find a way to like roll around or get to the ropes. He never broke the grip. He would always find the ropes, and Gunther was forced to break the grip. Because if he gets disqualified, he can't win the title. So he has to let go, even if he doesn't want to. And then, of course, the match ends with Cody getting the crossroads, but Gunther's foot is on the rope and the ref doesn't see it. And I rewinded it multiple times to make sure the ref legit did not see it. And from that angle, he could not. Because I've seen situations where they say the ref didn't see it, but you can clearly tell he did. In this case, no, he did not. He didn't see it. Cody gets the win, doesn't bury Gunther, gives Gunther a reason to keep chasing Cody, and sets the tone for the rest of the night. And they did it in 11 minutes and 35 seconds. That's all they needed. Anyone complained the match didn't go longer? If it had gone longer, I'll tell you what it would have been. Choke, breakout, Cody, crossroads, kick out. It would have just been that back and forth for an extra 15 minutes. Don't need it. So, beautifully done. And I chose Cody. Dez and Wenz chose Gunther. So, instantly, I'm on the board.
And it was looking good for you. And this ended up being the only match that I got wrong. You didn't know that at the time, but things are looking good. And then we went on to Rhea Ripley defeating Jade Cargill. As the points went, you went Rhea, I went Rhea, and so did Dez. All three of us went Rhea, and all three of us were correct. This is one of those matches, even if you don't watch it, you already know what's going to happen. Did they deliver despite us knowing the outcome?
Very much so. These two women delivered very well, and I felt that Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill did a hell of a job. I mean, they had great chemistry. They worked very well together. There was obviously Jade getting her rematch from WrestleMania, and we didn't think Rhea was going to lose anytime soon, and she didn't. Rhea Ripley ended up picking up the victory, and again, Jade's baddies tried to interfere, but failed miserably. Rhea Ripley was able to overcome. So it was a great story, great match, and another point for the champion.
Excellent work. Excellent work. You're up 2-1 at this point. And then we moved on in real time. The third match was Lesnar with Heyman at his side, defeating Obafemi via pinfall. As far as the points went here, I kind of felt like Brock needed a win to make this a three-parter. Dez felt the same, and Booch felt the same. Not for the same reasons, mind you, but all three of us felt like Brock was going to win. He did win. Very short match. And I kind of feel like this match should be a short match. It's two freaking heavyweights going at it. It shouldn't be a 20-minute match. But your thoughts on the outcome and the goings-on?
I thought it was great. Instantly right out the gate, it looked like Brock could lose at some points. Some people were a little upset at one point. Brock was at F5 through the table, and Obafemi sold it for a good long while. But then when it was getting to the point where it's like 8, 9, he's about to be counted out, he just props right back up and slides in the ring. Some people liked it, some people didn't. I didn't care about it because I felt like Oba, has demonstrated that he can get up from devastating moves. Hell, he got up from F5s. So, and it's not like he got up at 1. He got up at like 8.5, 9, and then jumped up and slid in the ring. And he had a Kimura locked on his arm. Sold it the entire time. Throughout the match, he's selling the arm, which is beautiful. Obafemi understanding psychology, understanding storytelling. And the fact it took Brock 7 F5s to put Obafemi down. It made everybody look good at the end of this match. And Oba was going for his move, but Brock fought out of it. So even though Oba kicked out of 6 F5s, Brock never once kicked out of the fall from grace. So Oba's finish was protected the entire time. And it's got the 1-1 apiece. So there's a third match coming. because Oba's been talking about Brock quite a bit in some of his promos in the weeks leading up to the next pay-per-view. So there is a possibility of a third match. When it will happen, we're not sure. Some are saying SummerSlam. I think it should be earlier, but that's just me. But there is a possibility of that happening. And it was beautifully done. Brock Lesnar getting the win like he needed to, and we were able to dominate.
And at this point, you're up 3-2, and still looking good for you. Maybe chewing some of your fingernails off. I'm not sure. You're the nervous type, Booch, especially unless it's a blowout. I know that you're sitting on the edge of your seat here.
Yeah.
Fourth match. Sol Ruca defeating Becky Lynch, the champion, by pinfall. I called it. I said Sol Ruca is winning this match. She needed the match bad. You called it too. Desmond thought we were both crazy. But alas, we're not.
Soul Snatcher 1, 2, 3. And we won. I will say this. As you guys know, I talk about Sol Ruca a lot. I've been championing her. I have given her the benefit of the doubt on a lot of mistakes she's made. So you know there's no bias when I say this match was the drizzling shits. It was god-awful. Botchamania ran wild in this fucking match. Ran wild. Like, Soul made mistake after mistake after mistake. Every springboard move this woman did was literally a catch me Becky spot. She's not trying to hit anything. She's not even lifting up an arm or doing something. She's trying to do a crossbody or a clothesline. She's literally jumping right into Becky's arms. This was fake as fuck. Not only that, if you look real closely, when they do the spot where she's going for the Soul Snatcher and Becky gets the arm bar, they're not even in the right position. Becky's already off to the side waiting for the arm. It's not like she was standing here, Soul goes for it, and Becky quickly ducks out of the way to grab the arm. So even if Soul went for the Soul Snatcher, there's no way in that spot she's going to catch her head. Nothing was placed properly in this match. Nothing. I don't know who's telling Sol Ruca that she needs to suddenly be a springboard spot person, but that person's trying to bury her. Because, again, I've seen Sol Ruca. She's better than this. And that's what makes me so goddamn angry. Because I've seen this woman in NXT. I've seen the chemistry she's had. Her and Becky should not work with each other anymore. They don't have chemistry in the ring. This is the type of thing where if you're booking an indie show and they're on the card, you're like, nope, I can't put these two in the ring together. They don't work well. And it really bothers me because Becky Lynch is supposed to be the man. Well, if you're the man, you should be able to make your opponent look good. At least that's what the last person who called themselves the man could do. So either Becky is not someone who can make her opponent look good, which means she's not as great of a worker as we thought she was, or B, she's intentionally sandbagging this girl. I don't know what it is. But that match was 14 minutes and 2 seconds, as Gator would say, of our lives we can't get back. That was sad. Fucking sad. It was an embarrassment. I'll even say it was an embarrassment to women's wrestling. And you can quote me on that. It was that fucking bad of a match. And again, I love Sol Ruca, so you know there's no bias here. This is not me like, oh, I just don't like somebody, so I'm shitting on them. No, this is somebody that I admire and respect, and I'm acknowledging she is fucking up and needs to change her style up or something, because she is not cutting it right now.
Do you think, before we get to the final match of Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu, the Samoan Werewolf, do you think, Booch, that the onus is more on lack of preparation or lack of execution in planning this match with Becky Lynch?
Both. Again, when you're doing high spots, you're usually planning these they're usually planning these, because there's times where wrestlers spend a lot of time at the ring in the beginning of shows. John Cena used to talk about that, how one of the things he got heat for was he was never around the ring. He was always in the bleachers working on his promos and his punchlines when he was the rap guy. So a lot of the wrestlers are around the ring. They're in the ring practicing. They're in the ring rehearsing a lot of the time. So they should have rehearsed this more, especially when you're doing high spots like this. You need to be in sync. The timing needs to be right in order for it to look believable. One of the things I always preach is believability. Hell, I got 2 Dark Side of the Ring videos I'm going to be recording soon. I've been doing research on. They talked about nothing but believability in those. So you're going to hear a lot of that from me on the Boostcast YouTube channel. But that's the thing, is that's why I don't like high-flying springboard moves, because they look too obvious. Like you're cooperating with the person to do it. And look,
Yeah.
you know wrestling is a work. I know wrestling is a work. Desmond knows it's a work. Everybody watching the show, we know it's a scripted show. But when you're in the ring, your job is to not make it blatantly obvious. I liken it to a magician. When he pulls the rabbit out of the hat, he shows you the hat, he shakes it up, there's nothing in there, puts it on the table, 1 for the show, 2 for the money, abracadabra, here's the bunny. Now, imagine if you went to the magic show and you saw a clear container with a bunny rabbit in it, and you stuck his hand through the hat and rummaged through the clear container, clearly grabbing the rabbit, pulling it out of the container and through the hat. You still gonna call that guy a great magician? You gonna pay money to go back to see him in Vegas? Probably not. Chris Angel, he does the levitating shit. We don't know how. Now, you might know there's wires there, but do you see wires? No, you don't. So you don't know. But imagine if you just saw a bunch of wires lifting him up off the ground. We gonna call him the illusionist? Probably not. That same thing in wrestling. If you're gonna do high spots, you have to time them right so that it looks believable when you get caught in it. This match did not do that. And I gotta believe it's these two, because again, I've seen Sol Ruca work in NXT, and she was never this bad. Her Soul Snatcher was flawless with every single person she worked with in the NXT locker room. All of them. So Becky Lynch is not in that NXT locker room, so I'm looking at the common denominator. So either Sol Ruca doesn't have the trust of the main roster yet, or they're intentionally trying to bury her. I don't know what it is. I'm not in the locker room, so I can't say. I'm just saying, based on what I'm seeing, there's no logical explanation you can give me for why Becky Lynch, who's one of the best women's wrestlers on the planet, can have a horrible match like this. And Sol Ruca, keep in mind, she's 4 years into the business. Not in WWE, the business. And they called her up. So she might not have been ready for this. So again,
that sucks. That's yeah. Go ahead.
But again, the responsibility, if she's inexperienced, the responsibility is on Becky.
Yep.
Who's the veteran? If you got somebody who doesn't in a ring that's either inexperienced or doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, and you have all the experience in the world, it is your responsibility to get this person to look good. I've heard Al Snow used to tell stories like that. He told a story one time where he had a guy who didn't know how to do shit. But because he was the babyface and Al Snow was the heel, he was able to get 20 minutes just by going like this. Like he would get him in the corner, beat him up, then the guy would put his fist up and Al Snow would like back up, whoa.
Yeah.
20 minutes out of that.
Well, we got 27 minutes out of this final match.
Yes.
Wasn't the final match real time, obviously. You're like, what? But yeah, the way it went down, Roman Reigns defeating Jacob Fatu. Booch, you and me both picked Roman Reigns to win. Desmond went out and I got to respect this. He went out on a limb up with Jacob Fatu, and I wanted it. I gave you 10 reasons why it would be a good idea. But we all know that WWE is the anti-fun league. They should call it the AFL. Anti-fun league. This would have been the chef's kiss of disorder, mayhem, chaos. Chaos. But they squandered another golden opportunity to shake it up like a snow globe. This is what they needed. But listen, why listen to us? Why listen to the people that spend hours talking about your damn product and service? I mean, why should you? We're still going to watch and listen and talk about this. And here we are doing just that. Booch, this match really sealed the deal. I mean, we both picked Roman, but your thoughts on the match? Again, I didn't see it. I'll have to go back to this site. You're going to private message me, and I'm going to sell to people $1 at a time as they email me. But yeah, I can't wait to see this match and see what you're about to tell me as it unfolds.
Well, first of all, if you get $1, I get at least 50 cents.
Oh,
but
55.45 easily. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, there we go. So, but I'm just going to say this. I will caution, though, if you do watch it from that site, there's a huge chunk of this match that doesn't get, that got taken out by copyright. But you get to still see the match. There's just a chunk of it that's gone. Just prefacing that. Everything else you get to see in its entirety. But this match, here's the reason I knew Roman was going to win. Like I said, I can see Jacob Fatu 100% as a world heavyweight champion. I could see that belt around his waist, on his shoulder, no problem. What I could not see is him as the tribal chief. The moment this became tribal combat and the Ula Fala was on the line, that's when I knew. Because they're not going to make Jacob the head of the table. They're just not going to do it. I don't care how charismatic he is. There's a big difference between being charismatic and being a leader. And Jacob Fatu does not have the leader type gimmick. He has the enforcer type gimmick. He's Arn Anderson. He's not Ric Flair. So it's not going to work. Okay? Not that Arn Anderson's not a great worker, but he was better as an enforcer than a leader. That's just the way it is. So I knew this was going to happen. So, and it was beautifully done. It was violent. It was a close call a lot of the time. Jacob Fatu, of course, losing. And what I really love most about this is how they're pushing the storyline. Because Jacob Fatu came out on Monday Night Raw the next night, and he acknowledged the tribal chief. He said, but then, of course, Jey Uso was trying to talk some shit, and then Jacob made it clear, hey, I came to acknowledge him, not your punk ass, Jay. So he's basically telling Jay, shut the fuck up, and then goes to Roman and says, I acknowledge you. Because again, it's not a burial because it's part of the tribal Samoan culture. Again, that's what people need to factor in here when you're telling this story. Samoan people have a culture. They have a tradition. There is a pride factor here. So if you lose tribal combat, you take the beating like a man. And that's what Jacob did. He's like, we fought, I lost, I acknowledge. But he also told Jay, just because Roman gets to boss me around, don't mean you get to boss me around. That's why a lot of times Jay's like, hey, we run the play, you got to follow. Like, no. I acknowledge Roman Reigns. I did not acknowledge your punk ass, Jay. That's why him and Jay are about to feud. Tonight, at the time we're recording this, tonight on SmackDown, Jey Uso is involved in a fatal four-way match. Excuse me, which I'm going to get to in a moment, because that's going to tailor into another thing I want to say. Jacob's costing him that match. And then we're going to see those two battle it out. Something will happen where Roman's got to step in or whatever, because Roman's counting on Jay to win and beat Cody and become the champion on the other brand. But I see those two fighting. But that's why that worked. Now, one thing Desmond pointed out, which is why he picked Jacob Fatu, is because Roman, with the exception of the Monday after Clash in Italy, he's off for the month. He ain't coming back. Which I could see being a frustrating situation and normally I'd be upset about. But I'll be brutally honest. With the horrible way TV's been booked over the last few weeks, I don't blame Roman for sitting at home. If I was Roman, I'd sit at home. Why does he need to be there? Because think about it. Wens, do you know what the name of the next pay-per-view is?
Is it SummerSlam?
I wish. That's in August.
No, I have no idea.
Night of Champions. Meanwhile, what's the number one thing we've been talking about on TV? What has been the focal point of the entire program? The King and Queen of the Ring tournament. This is called Night of Champions. There is not one title match booked for this pay-per-view, and we're 2 weeks out. There's stories, there's whispers, but nothing's been made official except the finals of what is the most atrocious tournament bracket I have ever seen since 1999. This is so poorly done. It's pathetic. You got fatal four-way matches because there's no disqualification, no count-out, lazy booking. You have semifinal lists that have no business being semifinalists. I mean, yeah, Oba Femi's in there. That's good, but I'm pretty sure Brock's going to screw that up. What the hell is Dominic Mysterio doing in the semifinals? Are you kidding me? I get it. Seth Rollins wants to screw Braun Breaker. That's fine. You got Trick Williams. You got Damian Priest. And you pick Dominic Mysterio? Are you smoking crack? You got Javon Evans. Who got dumped on their head in the creative room? Did Triple H get hit with a fucking sledgehammer? What is this idiot doing here? You could have picked Seth Rollins. No, they want to do the Vision thing. Okay, fine. Ricky Saints, that guy is pure charisma. Javon Evans is pure gymnastics. This is sad. And you got Jey Uso, LA Knight, Royce Keys, or Finn Balor going in. Love to see LA Knight, but I don't think Triple H is going to pull the trigger on that. Knowing him, he'll probably pick Finn Balor. That's how bad this bracket's looking. Then you go to the Queen tournament. Liv Morgan, who's the women's world champion, in the semifinals. Make that make sense. You got Io Sky, which, okay, not one of my favorites, but I'll take her over Roxanne. And you got Raquel Rodriguez. Okay, somebody I actually like in this tournament. But knowing booking, Io Sky is going to squash her. But look, that's all they talked about is this tournament. There are no title matches on the Night of Champions. Why wouldn't you just call this King and Queen of the Ring? Also on Night of Champions, the tradition is all the titles are on the line. Wins. Would you like to guess how many belts we have in WWE?
All right. So you have the new Women's Intercontinental. You have the men's. You have the Heavyweight Championship. You have the WWE Championship. You have SmackDown title, Raw Tag Team title. Oh, that's both those tag team titles. United States Champion. Am I missing one?
Yeah, let's see. You know how many belts there are total? 11. There's 11 belts.
Wow.
World Champion, WWE Champion, Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, Tag Champion, Women's World Champion, Women's WWE Women's Champion, Intercontinental, United States, Tag Team. 11 belts. That means if you wanted to do a real Night of Champions, you'd have to have 13 matches on this card. And if you want to fill the time with 13 matches, some of them going to have to be really short. Like in the Attitude Era, they would have 13 matches, but one would be 3 minutes, one would be 7. Then every now and then you get a 15 or a 14 minute. Then your main event might be 20 or 30. So that's how you have to fill this. Which means it's not going to be a real Night of Champions because not every belt's going to be on the line because they like to have shorter matches and make them longer.
Yeah.
So this is horrible booking. So again, I ask the question, if I'm Roman Reigns, why show up to work? Why? Just so I can be on TV? So you can see my face? Like, well, we want to see your face. Go get a picture online. It's like, we want to hear your voice. Go listen to a podcast. Like, what the? Roman Reigns does not need to waste his time.
I'm with you.
That's why I'll make that case. Why put him on TV? Why? Why does he need to be there? He can
So he's not going to be. So he's not going to be a Night of Champions?
No, he's off for the month of June. He's off for the month of June. They said that, and some people thought he was taking time off. Some say he's taking time off for family. Some say it's just creatively foreign. There was a rumor going around about him having to possibly take a pay cut, and that was the issue. So some people thought Roman might leave, but obviously he's the world champion. He ain't leaving.
Right.
Or they found a way to not cut his pay or whatever, because there are some people that have had to take cuts in pay. That's why the New Day left. They offered them a cut in pay. They refused, asked for their release, and they're gone. They didn't fire him. They quit. Let's verify that. They didn't fire. They quit. And some people thought CM Punk hasn't been on TV because he might be doing a pay cut issue. Some say that's a lie, but whatever. So if I'm Roman Reigns, I'm not. Why? He doesn't need to be there because, again, they're not. This is Night of Champions, and there's no champions as the focal point. It's all this dumbass tournament.
That sucks.
So that's really what it is. And the tournament's not even looking that great. Now, maybe tonight on SmackDown, some things will change, but this is not a great King of the Ring.
Well, here we are. And how many, 2 weeks away from that?
We're 2 weeks away. It is November, it's not November. It's June 27th.
So we'll definitely get together. We'll get Dez back. He'll be in better form next time. He was away with the family. All is well. He'll be back next time. But until then, we will never, ever leave you without a couple key catchphrases. One of which is, have a nice day.
Bang, bang.